There's a new hidden gem in the used car market. I mean, we've seen these shortages in the last few years, and of course with shortages in the used car space, it drives prices up, supply and demand. But sadly, we're seeing junk hitting these car lots. I've never seen such trashy cars, cars with bent rims, cars with scrapes and damage, cars with worn out carpet, cars that are just clearly not in good shape. But what's going on is now the average age of some of these used cars hitting the market is rising. As well, a lot of these dealers are struggling to get inventory, so now they're just scraping the bottom of the barrel and putting trash on their lots. I mean, go walk down some of the car lots, you see a lot of literal trash, junk cars, high miles, worn out parts, and clearly that's just what's on the outside. I mean, it's horrific with what's going on. The auctions are pushing through some junk, and again, the age is going up simply because the quality late model vehicles are no longer available or hard to come by for dealers anyway. Lease returns are down because people weren't leasing with the higher interest rates from a couple of years ago. Now the lagging effect means that there's very few good quality lease returns that are coming back to the market and through the auctions. Unfortunately, even trade-ins, people are holding on their vehicles longer. So once they do trade in, their vehicles tend to be a little older, a little rusty, or a little more beat up, and in some cases a little more neglected. So the quality of the used cars is dropping dramatically. But there's this little feature, and a lot of you may or may not be aware of it, certified pre-owned, or the CPO. There's these vehicles that are out there that exist, and I personally bought one a few years ago. Actually, I bought it back in 2020, just before the market went silly. People were locking down. I went down to a local dealership, and that was when the prices were still relatively normal. So I bought my car, I went in there, it had a CPO warranty, it was a good quality, low mileage car. I signed on the dotted line, got the extended warranty thrown into it, and usually with certified pre-owned, it's something that's approved by the factory, if you will, or it's at least up to their standards. And pardon the air quotes, but I mean, this whole market is a little bit of shambles, and it's founded in a base of lies. So with that said, I mean, take it all with a grain, but ultimately the certified pre-owned warranty generally gives people more of an insurance, a confidence to buy cars that generally have gone through a rigorous check and certainly are founded and backed by the factory or even at least by the dealership. Now, certified pre-owned warranties do often, and certified pre-owned vehicles are often based more on quality, vehicles that are, in better shape. They don't have the accident history. Maybe they've had the good maintenance history, and there's certainly a lot more history at the dealership. They might have service records. They know all of the maintenance has been up to snuff. There's no accidents that haven't been underwater, and maybe the mileage is low too. And so you meet those three criteria, that sounds like a real winner, doesn't it? Especially when you consider the fact that a lot of these older used vehicles are trash. I've been seeing this all over the place. A lot of old cars, faded headlights being imported from southern states. They're faded, the sun fades taken to them. Some of them have been underwater, rims damaged. Of course, we've seen bumpers and scrapes. I even know somebody here recently who bought themselves a BMW, and it's a great car. It has low mileage, but it's an example of what's going on in the market. It only had something like 11 or 12,000 kilometers on it, but already had damage on the front bumper. It had some scrapes on the wheels, and it makes you wonder, what do these people do with their cars? Do people not care anymore? I mean, the price of these vehicles are extraordinarily high these days. So why would they neglect or abuse their vehicles? But more to the point, why are dealers not fixing these vehicles before they list them? Well, that's largely because in a lot of cases, they don't want to put a CPO warranty, or they want to maximize their profits, and the less money they can put into that used vehicle to refurbish it, to clean it up, to make it nicer and presentable, the less money they'll have for profits. So quite often now they're using that as a negotiations tactic. They'll use those bumps and bruises and scraped wheels now as a baseline for negotiations. So now you come in there, you're not only negotiating on the price of the vehicle, you're actually negotiating on the damage and repairs and upkeep, where a lot of these dealers are no longer taking care of that, where 5 years ago they would have. It was a total given. You would get your vehicle, it would be tidied up, it would be fixed up, rims would be repaired, and they would all do it on their dime. But now they don't even care. Now they're basically just giving it as is, and if you're not fussy enough to actually challenge a dealer on it, you're going to drive away with a vehicle with low mileage that had been banged around on every curbside. So ultimately, the CPO warranty does some great things for a buyer that maybe isn't as well versed in the understanding of what the car industry has to offer, which is a lot of junk mixed with a few little gems here and there. Now, a lot of people don't want to buy brand new vehicles because they're extraordinarily expensive. We see the prices on new vehicles these days, and they're not getting any cheaper. So that's why there's an ever increasing popularity in the used car marketplace. But the CPO warranty is sort of that splitting that balance right there. So you get the older used cars, that 3 to 8 years old on the markets, on the car lots, that are often banged up and bruised and scraped, and they maybe run well, they have moderate mileage, but there's a little bit of spotty history. Well, those kind of car lots are full. We're seeing a lot of those types of cars all over the place. New, of course, you're paying full beans, plus taxes, paint protection film, floor mats, extra. You're just paying everything. So what about that space in between? Well, there's a space reserved for certified pre-owned vehicles where it's used, but a lot of the benefits of new. Quality, low mileage, no accident history, sounds almost like the best case scenario. You get the mass majority of the service life, but without all of the cost of buying new, but without having the bangs and the scrapes that you're finding in the used car market. Because the certified pre-owned warranty often goes through a rigorous inspection at the dealership. And when it checks all the boxes, the quality mechanicals are all great, then quite often they're willing to back it up with a warranty, sometimes 2 or 3 years of extra warranty on top of the factory warranty. Now, I have to say this comes at a little bit of a precaution. There's things you still want to do. Even a CPO car is certainly founded and backed by the dealers, and more so even by the factory. You still want to read the clauses. You still want to understand what some of those little exclusions or inclusions are on the extended warranty, because quite often they end up dropping certain parts. They might extend your warranty, but they may exclude certain components that maybe were part of the new vehicle, but maybe aren't necessarily going forward. So CPO warranties are great, but quite often they are exclusions. You better read up on that. As well, it would be well advised to get that car still independently inspected, a pre-purchase inspection at another reputable dealership of that same brand. Say you're shopping for a Jaguar. You want to take it to another Jaguar dealer ideally, or some other dealer of a similar capacity that knows those cars more intimately. So get that car pre-purchase inspection and do some basic checks. Do a drive check. Make sure it drives well. It doesn't pull to a side, doesn't make weird noises, doesn't blow blue smoke. But there's other things. Look under the hood. Check the oil. Give it a smell. Look at the brake fluid. Make sure it's topped up. And it shouldn't be dirty. If it's a certified pre-owned, you've got to know it should be like new. Look at the coolant. Make sure it's clear. Make sure it's good or the right color. Is it orange? Is it green? Whatever. Check the fluids. Do a quick look yourself. They're easy checks, but everything should look top shelf because certified pre-owned warranty should represent virtually like new. Some basic questions you really do need to ask that dealer who's selling that certified pre-owned vehicle. For example, what are the mileage? And that mileage should in fact align with the Carfax. The Carfax, you look at this chronological order of mileage, owners, registrations, and it should all make sense. And you'll find pretty quickly on any outliers. You also want to ask, if it's a certified pre-owned vehicle, what type of inspections did you actually complete? And upon those inspections, I'd like to see some of the numbers, not just a checklist of the 59 best most popular items. Rather, I want to see brake wear. I want to see the brake wear lining numbers, percentages. I want to see the millimeters or the depth, the 5/32, 9/32, whatever it is of the tire depth. So I want to understand tires, brakes. I want to understand when the last service was, when the next major service is due. I want to understand those features. You got to ask those questions because they may have completed a minor service, but maybe in another 1,000 miles, there might be a major service that might cost you $5,000. So you want to ask those questions because if you don't, you might still get snookered with some high expenses. And the point of buying a certified pre-owned vehicle is to avoid some of those expenses, at least initially, because they should be completed, they should be up to snuff, and they should be of the highest quality. Now, as a certified pre-owned vehicle, you also want to ask what's the service history? What's the overall history of the vehicle? Now, most of these dealerships are willing to back up the certified pre-owned program with a vehicle that's high quality often should come from a place that has history. So ask that dealer what the history of that vehicle is. Where's it coming from? What was the previous owner like? Where's the service paperwork? And quite often, due to privacy rights, they can't necessarily give you the invoices. They might review it with you, and it'd be great to at least have a look or at least black out. And I've had my local dealership do that for me, where they actually just scratched out the personal information like the phone number, the person's names and address, but they actually gave me the invoice. So they gave me the pertinent information that I really needed to know. I don't care about who the person was who owned it necessarily, but I'd certainly like to know what it was through and the kind of maintenance it saw. So you want to ask all those questions, because chances are buying a certified pre-owned vehicle is going to come at a little bit of a premium for a couple reasons. Number one, it's certified pre-owned. Quite often it's coming with a warranty, and that's worth a few dollars to you. But also two, because it's got the history and because it's typically got lower miles. Lower mileage vehicles are definitely going to come typically at an increased cost. So you want to ask all the questions you can about the vehicle. Know that you will probably pay a little bit more, but ultimately the certified pre-owned vehicles are probably the next best thing to buying new, but without the huge expense. Definitely like to hear your thoughts down below. Have you bought a certified pre-owned warranty? Have you had a good experience like I have with mine? Anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. As well as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all real soon. Catch you then, everybody. Bye-bye.